All right, welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Nate Woods. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach Peachtree, and today I am joined by Shahrukh Zahir. He is the founder and principal advisor of Right Fit Advisors. So today we're going to talk a little bit about his business, his journey through business ownership, some challenges he's faced, and what he's used to overcome those, and really give you an idea of what it's like to run and operate his business. If it's your first time on the channel, make sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop future interviews just like this one. And Shahrukh, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. If you would just give us a brief overview of, kind of your background and tell us a little bit about your business.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Nate. My name is Shahrukh Zahir. I am a California native. I recently moved to Atlanta to kick off Right Fit Advisors, which is a technical staffing firm. Relatively new in the business, not relatively new in the business, just in the Atlanta market more so. It's an exciting journey to be here, to meet new people, and just be a part of Atlanta's growth.
Perfect. So before I dive into all of this, what brought you to Atlanta initially? Why did you choose to come here?
Great question. I get that asked all the time. I love Atlanta because over the years, every single time I visited Atlanta, one thing I noticed that there was always so much construction and development happening, and it allowed me to just look into Atlanta as a city and just the economics of the city and the spur and the growth that I'm seeing in Atlanta, specifically in the tech sector, is just enormous. Atlanta being one of the cities which had the most venture capitalist investors this year, just year to date, gives you a lot about that belief that I have. So I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be involved in it. I feel Atlanta will become the Silicon Valley of South. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of excitement and a lot of growth that's going to happen in Atlanta. And I just wanted to be a part of all that exciting stuff that's going to happen in the city.
Perfect. I love that. So kind of touching on that same topic, let's set the stage for the viewers. So generally speaking, what does the ownership structure of your business look like? Do you have outside investors? Are you the sole owner? How does that look?
I do have a partner where we bootstrap the entire process. My partner is the CEO of a company, and she and I run different verticals within the organization. I'm more on the business side of things. She's more on the operation side of things. So we both tag team on working and making sure the company's successful.
Perfect. I love it. So tell me a little bit about the role that you currently play within the business.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of the company. I operate in working with organizations, lead generations, business generations, as well as prospecting, training all staff locally, and just putting together an infrastructure that allows us to run our day-to-day operations successfully. That's essentially what I do from a progression standpoint for the business and the revenue standpoint.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Right Fit Advisors. So who primarily are you looking to serve? Who's your ideal client?
Our client is anybody who uses technology. So as we're growing, as the world evolves, technology continues to evolve, and AI and machine learning has completely disrupted the entire world, and it's a word that is now considered used as an overkill. But I'm looking to support any organization that is looking for any kind of support. Right Fit Advisors is a technical staffing firm. We support any organization that is looking to hire talent that will allow them to build a product for them in-house, or maintain a product, or bring in come in and assess what kind of tools that they need that will allow them to successfully run their business more efficiently. Any of those businesses would be our prospect clients. A lot of times these organizations are anywhere that are more so like mid-sized to startup companies, because they usually don't have a lot of infrastructure and they're trying to figure things out, and they need somebody like us to professionally come in who have done this for many years and advise them on different kind of processes and tools to put in place.
Perfect. So very specialized staffing. I wouldn't really consider competitors for you guys other staffing companies. What would you consider a competitor, and maybe how do you guys differentiate yourselves?
I don't consider us having any kind of competitor for multiple reasons. First, We are an AI and machine learning firm, but we're not a firm that is using that concept as to attract people. We actually built our own proprietary in-house process that allows us, our candidates and our clients to go through a lot of EQ and IQ different assessments so that we can align people. And we really heavily rely on data and analytics. Headhunting, the traditional way of recruiting and staffing, rely quite a bit on individuals and having that emotional intelligence in recruiters to assess who's going to be a right fit. But I wanted to take that gut concept, like a gut feeling of a recruiter, out of the process and just really automate this whole thing. And I was able to do that by creating the set of processes that we did. So at this point in the country, I have yet to come across anybody else that is doing things quite the way we are. I'd love to welcome any competition, but so far I haven't seen one.
Awesome. So what is one thing that you wish more people knew about your business?
I wish people would get past just the AI and machine learning concept, but really understand who we are as a business and how we operate, and how our big focus is not just finding talent, but we are big on culture, retention, diversity. And I feel like the modern organization that wants to hire a modern working professional needs to put these things in place where D&I is no longer a cool buzzword, right? So we just want to make sure that this is a norm in each organization as they're growing, because it does evolve organizations in a way that not many others do. So we want to continue to make sure we do that. And that was one of the things I wanted to do in Atlanta, in San Francisco, in New York. I have clients I work with that know this and have done this, but in Atlanta, as the economy is growing, as the city is growing, there's a lot of people that can adapt and learn those concepts and apply in their organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's transition a little bit into marketing and getting that message out to the community. For you guys, what would you say has been the most successful marketing strategy you've used to date?
I would say a lot of LinkedIn. That's where most of the business professionals, most of the engineers and CEOs and founders are available. So I do leverage my own personal platform, my own personal page to engage with individuals, as well as our company page, which is Right Fit Advisors, linkedin.com/Right Fit Advisors. Of course, my name, so you can look me up.
Perfect. So we spent some time focused on the business. Let's spend a little bit of time focusing on you and your journey. So just flat out, why did you decide to go into business for yourself instead of going to work somewhere else?
Yeah, over the years, I have worked with a lot of organizations in executive positions. I've hired people, I've built cultures, I have evolved teams, I've helped people make the position I was in or those roles their careers. And when I was doing it for others, I realized that there are things that could still be improved upon or could be streamlined in a way that I wanted to do it. So I really wanted to create a platform and an organization where we're able to help build people internally within the organization, but can really truly impact other organizations too. So I want to continue to build upon that in a way that is more efficient, that is not just a skill set that is just applicable to one individual, but we can plug in more people in this ecosystem and they can continue to learn how to develop the skill sets that I now have. So I just want to create that model so that others could be as successful as I am in what I did.
Absolutely. So as you kind of look back on your entrepreneurial journey, was there something that kind of stands out as like a roadblock or a hurdle that you had to get past? And why would you say that?
Oh man, so there's so many hurdles as an entrepreneur you face, depending on which kind of company you're working for. I will just kind of bring it back to Right Fit Advisors because this is the most recent one. And that was me moving from Los Angeles to Atlanta. It's super exciting and everything is great. But when I moved here, I recognized that people do business differently than the way people do business in Los Angeles. People here traditionally, whenever they need a service, they reach out to their contacts in their network to see who they know before they even go outside. Whereas in LA, you could just meet somebody at a happy hour or at a networking event, and you can engage with them and you can do business with them. And it was just easier. So when I moved here, one of the things I hadn't recognized as much that cracking into the market was, or this circle of network was gonna be difficult or gonna be something I have to be super cautious about. And I was lucky enough that I was able to do some research, meet some people, and did a lot of networking to be able to be integrated in now the tech circle, what I consider it is, and be involved in local events and things along those lines.
Perfect. So let's kind of fast forward a little bit. Where do you see Right Fit Advisors in the next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years. Good question. Right Fit Advisors is going to be a business model that is going to be designed to impact organizations in 2 to 3 different kind of verticals, any kind of size that may be. Number one would be we're going to help people with human capital with leveraging our AI tools. And then the other thing we're going to do is eventually, as we grow this organization, we want to have 10 to 15 people here. We are based in Midtown in the Coda building. We want to grow this office and then open another satellite office in West Coast is the biggest goal that we have in 3 years. In 5 years, we want to transition into providing and bringing more tools that helps organization on the sales and revenue side of things. So we're currently working on different tools that are going to streamline people's way of selling the product. So the whole idea is that from just the exclusive staffing firm, we want to become a business consulting shop where we're not only empowering and finding culture driven people that aligns with your beliefs, your mission, but also bring people in that are now providing you tools that are going to sell the product and increase revenue so that we can just directly impact in both angles. And those are the 2 of the 3 ways that people usually like to figure out how to grow organizations. So we're looking forward to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So when you kind of think of the future of the business, team is always a topic that comes up, and being able to grow and find the right people. You probably know this better than anyone. As you kind of move forward in the business and develop your own leadership style, do you feel like it's kind of changed over time, or what would you say? How would you describe yourself as a leader?
Yeah, it has definitely changed over time, and it will continue to change over time because leadership is so much about people and what the type of people you're leading and their needs and wants. And for me as a leader, one thing I want to always focus is the people that work for me. The model of being a servant leader, which means that putting your employees, your team first, is so important. And because of that reason, your leadership style continues to evolve and change. Right now, the team I have, my style is more so of empowering them, providing them with the tools, mentoring them, doing check-ins, and making sure that they're successful. And I'm providing them everything I can that they cannot worry about not finding success in what they're doing. That was different 10 years ago. When I was a district sales manager for Verizon Wireless at that time, I would just tell folks, hey, these are your goals, these are your numbers, go make it happen. And the drive at that time in that environment was more so of sales driven, versus now it's more of service driven. And as the economy evolves and the way the clients are evolving, the staffing changes, and everything just kind of continues to evolve. So that's one part I'm excited about for myself is, as a leader, you have to continue to evolve and adapt, and that's something I teach to organizations, C-level executives that I work with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about it a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to revisit. So hiring and retaining the right team right now is more difficult than ever. And you said you guys utilize AI and some different tools to try and pull away some of the gut feeling responses you have to make and come up with some more tangible solutions. So elaborate on that a little bit for me.
Yeah, great question. So I think that the way it used to work is, and it still works to very much extent now, is I always say that people hire an emotion. So if I like you, Nate, I will say, hey, I like this guy, and maybe Nate is falling short XYZ, but hey, this person has a potential to grow and evolve, and I believe and I want to continue to invest in this person. But and that still stays true to the point. But beyond that, what has changed now is people have different motivations, and though what I call a modern professional, they no longer just care about finding a job where they could do 9 to 5. I think that's important to them, but they also want to be a part of an organization that is very much mission driven, has goals and aspirations, have different kind of characteristics. They focus on sustainability. They maybe celebrate a specific type of days, and it could be anything else that is important to them. And that is the part that's relevant for that one specific person. Now, if you can truly find that person that does that for you, and then we can match that with an organization, that person will stay there long. In Atlanta, let's just talk about the local city. Because of so much growth is expected, one of the things I foresee happening is it will, the concept of sticking with one organization long term is going to change, because with a lot of investments coming in and a lot of startups coming in, so many organizations would want to say, hey, we want to hire this person. If they're making XYZ, let's pay them that, and then bells and whistles, right? So we're going to see the surge in people leaving because of compensation. So because I see that happening, I want to just completely take the compensation component out of any kind of retention and talent hiring, and I want to make it more about emotion, and I want to make it more about a sense of belonging and community. Because in my career, while I was an individual contributor towards leadership, people have offered me partnerships, people have offered me jobs to jump ship, and the reason I stayed in the organization as I did was truly because I believed in where I was working. I really enjoyed working with my manager. I really enjoyed working with my organization. I felt like they were doing things that I wanted to do, and that's the reason I passed on making more money than what I was making. So for me, I think that there are more people that want to continue to be a part of an organization where they're not feeling like a number, and our process allows us to differentiate those people and align them with the kind of organization they'll be most successful in.
Absolutely. I think culture and really having that overall vision of the company aligned with the employees and the team is more important than ever.
Yeah. And I feel like when you're interviewing for an organization, like if I'm interviewing for your organization, Nate, and you're interviewing me, of course I'm going to be your level best. But when there's an external recruiter, not an internal recruiter, it changes the dynamics, because an external recruiter is always somebody like me, is always an advocate for an agent for both parties involved. So their goal is to make sure that they are truly matching the right kind of person to the right kind of organization. So for them, the candidate is usually very open and direct about their needs and wants, which a lot of times employees or talent is reluctant about doing, because they just don't want to be perceived as somebody who's too demanding or not a right fit.
Yeah, absolutely. So switch gears one more time. Just a couple rapid fire questions. So quick top of head answers.
Sure.
Number one, what would you say is the number one key to success for you?
Not doubting myself. So I, whenever I'm in any kind of hurdle, I do my research. And whenever I make a decision, I go forward with it. And, that's basically how I operate. And as I go through a process, if I have to pivot, I pivot. But, most of the cases, I just continue to ramp through it. Perfect.
So what would one piece of advice be to give to a young entrepreneur?
Good question. Again, I think it goes back to knowing what you want to do and doing your research, and be very logical about how you want to make things happen. Whenever you're starting a business, know that revenue will always come, but you want to focus on what kind of problem you're solving and who is your target market, and actually do some research on that. And once you have done that, only then go into that business. Any business that you want to start, your first A goal is what kind of problem I'm going to solve, because if you're solving a problem, people become successful, and just understanding who would be your target market. So just do your market analysis, do your research, and then jump into it. It took me 3.5 months to truly decide how I wanted to start my company, what kind of tools I wanted to use, how I wanted to put my process together. And I sat through a bunch of research calls, bunch of other meetings to understand what I wanted to do. So now that I have it all put it together, I'm moving forward with it, and I'm seeing a lot of success. So, and there will be times that you're going to feel that, things didn't go the way they wanted to. It's okay. Not every decision is going to be the right one. As long as most of them are, you're fine.
Absolutely. What is one business book or podcast that you've been listening to or reading that you highly recommend?
So I'm big on self-development. I've read many books. One that I read that allows me to wake up in the morning and just go to work is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. I followed this guy for a while. I feel like he's somebody that has written this book in such a creative way that I've read this book 2 or 3 times, and every single time after a few years I read it, I just learn something new, because you just learn something that you didn't even think about before, because now you have evolved as an individual. So it's a book that everybody should have on their bookshelf and continue to read that more than one time in their life.
Great recommendation. So before I jump to our final question of the day, what is the best way others can learn more about Right Fit Advisors or get in contact with you?
Yeah, they can visit our website, rightfitadvisors.com. They can also find us on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/rightfitadvisors, or they can reach me directly at linkedin.com/Shahrukh Zahir, ShahrukHZahir.
Perfect. I'll link all that in the description so people can easily find it. So my last question for you today is, what is most inspiring to you?
What's inspiring to me is seeing how resilient this economy is, to be honest. Looking at U.S. Economy over the years, I've seen it crash and rebuild, and it allows me to know that no matter how much you fall down or how much you feel like it pushed you back, that you should continue to get back up and keep moving forward. And the fact that I try to do that with my organization is just being able to build this platform where we are able to do the same for other people that are either have lost their job or feel like they're unhappy, and we're trying to pick them up and push them forward. So we try to align in the same model, and I feel like I'm a big data and analytics nerd, so all the graphs when I see about economy, it actually drives me to know that, hey, you know what, there's a silver lining in every single scenario you could be in.
Absolutely. Sure. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been awesome talking with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.